solar dryers, reuse of the materials, integration of animals, the use of any available material. Next. This is another example of proper technology. What's wrong with that? Why that's so backup? When you see different places in Africa, how people suffer the Spain hours doing that, this has been working in the planet for centuries. Why we cannot say it's a good thing? You can apply even a windmill here, you can apply even an engine if you can get it. That's the concept of proper technology. So the first project was education about urban agriculture in Havana. By that moment, there are more than 9 projects and 2 projects in 5 provinces. And I will go back to Roberto, okay? Next. Right now, there are more than 600 producers and promoters trained in different levels of permaculture. Next. 2 centers of information. I'm going to translate gently for you. Sorry for write that in Spanish. One in Havana that is part of the library of the foundation. We have, for example, things that they were donated by us. All the numbers of Earth's Garden. It's very one of the earliest permaculture. We have almost every number. Permaculture International Journal, that was like the big thing. We have this little magazine called Se Puede that some people say that is the biggest permaculture because we print 10,000 copies. And we sell 20 American cents.
Oh, wow.
Cuba is different, okay? But just to give you an idea that we really want to get to the people, we have the permaculture is just a booklet, and we have like a permaculture calendar that every year, in a way that we have 2 weeks here and we have something here. So in that way, okay, in Cuba we don't have a lot of beautiful agendas from China. We don't have that. They are very expensive. So the idea is like for 2 weeks you are looking to something that permaculture that goes directly in your brain. And also the moon phases and some of that information. It can be dedicated to plants, to soil, to fruits, to animals. The book, the 2 training modules that we have, and of course a lot more materials. Of the garden, these are some of the gardens, mainly in the urban space. This guy have like 200 rabbits. And under the rabbits, he have edible guinea pigs. And under the guinea pigs, he have the worms. Next. So, some of the typical systems. We have a lot of banana, of course. Next. And then we go back. We go back to the El Jovero. So El Jovero, our clients were a theater company. So they wanted a theater. And how in a place like Cuba, when you cannot put a lot of electricity, you organize a theater in a way that people can listen. We went back to the Greeks. This is a typical amphitheater in a place that we're constantly eroding and degrading. And then we use that and the water here to project the sound of the scenario. And these are some of the houses. Another thing that we were very surprised is because the people of the theater group, they say, we work together, but we don't want to live scrambled. That was an extra challenge for us because everybody that have been in the permaculture places, you know that in order to centralize different things, it's better that the people live together. But I think that they didn't want to be together 24/7 because they train for 10 hours. And then they have their roles. So we totally, in a new way, we have to start designing little houses with standalone systems for each one. And of course, they love to paint. That's what the writer of the company. That's what for different groups. Next. And the idea was also, use everything for the production. So we try to recover. For example, this is the tiles that you can make here, like that. The Spanish typical tiles. And we were sort of recovering every traditional form of construction in the area. And one hurricane passed over there, and only one house lost part of the roof. That's the main proof. Okay, next. Next. You know what is that? That's a hydraulic ram. The ram was used by the Romans, but now we prefer pumps. We prefer engine and an aqueduct. But the ram, per 1 meter that you have of waterfall, you can pump the water 5 meters. And it works alone. And when you just touch one of the valves, it starts pumping. What's wrong with that? So the idea is that there are many things. Of course, the windmills, that in this case it would be for pumping water. And this was one of the things that was more difficult for us because they wanted a place to rehearse. And they wanted shaded, and at the same time they wanted open. So it's a combination of pole thatch. So the air can go here, but right here it's all French tiles. And of course our tractors, they're nice tractors. Next. So you can see here how we combine, it needs to be solid because also there was some donations, but we combine that with like the different systems in the area. I am not saying that in a place with hurricanes, in a place in the Caribbean, you have to be very humid, and with 2 minutes of rain in 4 months, you have to be very careful with some of the things that we know. So we have been trying things. It's not different things and testing it. This has been our polygon of training for the last years. But you can see how it works, you know. Most of these, all of these came from the farm itself. And most of it was some trees called eucalyptus that we don't consider very desirable in that system, but they're excellent wood. Very light, very strong, and you can see that they combine system with that. This in Cuba, the wind makes like that. In this case, we're just trying, and of course you have to have a little porch. And of course, you know, so one little garden, next. More of the same, you can see here, next. That's the scenario. So instead of the people, we use the Greek system, so they don't need any audio. And these produce half a ton of mangoes. So it's a productive, edible scenario. And you can see here, that's the scenario. These projected boys, we can put tilapia only 4 or 5 months of the year, but they're there and they're trapped. Next. That's the installation of the ram and some of the pond system. Next. This is like the wood that always grew in Cuba. And joero comes from jobo, that is of the family of the mango, a little fruit that the farm was called El Joero, and there was no jobo trees anymore. Next. Yeah, pretty much the same. Next. And of course they do the rest. They do so much art, so many interesting things. They're always smiling, always running. Each actor have a plan per year of trees. Each actor have to plant like 100 trees. So they organize themselves in a way that each month and that they have their own trees. But we have to convince them that it's not like that, because the optimum period to plant the trees is May, when the rain comes. So then we have to tell them, you have to be ready for May. And David Hungry came and planted a ceiba, that is a holy tree, because it looks like baobab. So Aboriginal people of Cuba and the former slave and the African, we also consider that tree sacred. Right now, there are more than 5,000 new trees, 5 hectares of forest that was the one that is giving the wood, and 40% of the food eaten, not only by the company that have more than 20 people, but also by the people that goes there, is produced on the site. Next. You can see here, now this is the area that, this is the digester of the biogases here. This area is like a prairie, like a pasture land. There is a model. We have African sheep that has hair, no wool. We have goats, and we have 4 cows. And some of the systems that were there. You can see that outside the property, the land is not very well developed. Next. The same, yeah, pretty much, you know, the horses. Next. And here we started, this is Bambusa vulgaris, for example. We started to develop like very, very simple things inside the areas, and to organize like different places, like the eating room, the common room, and areas when they say, no, it's not only about planting trees, you have to protect it, you have to do different things. That's the big hole for the biogas digester. Next. You say that there is everything in the land of God. Next. This is no porn, okay? And this is my theory. And if we really want to extend the permaculture, right now we account for less than probably 2 million of people in the planet doing permaculture. For some people say, no, that's too little. For some people say, no, that's too much. But it happened to be that there are 6 billion people, and some of them are starving, and if they knew more about permaculture, the very different things can say. So, my theory is that it needs to be very sexy. It needs to be attractive, but it also can have your knowledge. If this guy knows about artificial insemination, you know, he will do it. No, but I'm sure that these pigs will be happier. So this is the idea. We're turning a bridge to the best of our past, to the heart of our present, and the hope of our future. That's basically